Hey guys, Zeramus555 here, coming to you guys with a Sylvan deck profile. I haven't made a Yu-Gi-Oh video in probably, I think it's about 3 years now. I actually, if you guys didn't figure it out, quit. I just lost interest in the person I was playing with in town. Him and I had a falling out, so we just stopped playing. But I've recently actually taken out my old cards, and me and my girlfriend have been playing quite a bit. She's been playing Monarchs, and I've been playing Sylvans and Boojans and a bunch of other stuff. She's also been kind of getting into playing Satellar Knights recently, and we've been having quite a bit of fun. It's really good, and I like the new Master Rule 5. I think it fixes the game quite a bit. That was one of the reasons I stopped playing, was I didn't like the idea that all my old decks that I liked playing were basically dead without link monsters. I think that was a really poor decision on Konami's part, but I get that at the time that was implemented to push sales and make people have to basically buy the new sets and buy the link monsters in order to play. So I've noticed there's a shortage of certain archetypes that I think are still very viable come Master Rank 5. I don't think that they are by any means broken, but I think that they are playable, and I think that they could do quite well in a local tournament or do well against your friends if you're just playing, for fun. A lot of these decks I'll be uploading are in general just really cheap to build, and they're overall just a lot of fun to play with. So yeah, without further ado, this is my Sylvan deck profile, and I'll get right into it. So yeah, I love Sylvans. I love plants. The first tournament I ever won, I was playing Plant Synchro. That was way back in 2011. Sorry for the glare. And yeah, sorry for the tripod too. I don't have my old setup anymore, which was pretty janky as it was anyways, but I guess this seems to work. If you guys haven't noticed, I am playing Star Wars Legion. I basically quit Yu-Gi-Oh! And I've been playing a lot of miniatures games. I just found that the community for this game is actually quite toxic, and I don't mean any offense to anybody that obviously plays it for fun, but there's a lot of people that don't play it for fun. And at the end of the day, this is a card game. It's supposed to be for fun. It's not supposed to be about getting the best pulls at your sneak peek and ripping off little kids and whatever else a lot of the toxic people in the community can do. There's a lot of theft in Yu-Gi-Oh! As well, which was another big reason I just had to get out of it. But yeah, if you guys have never checked out Star Wars Legion, or if you want something a little more simple, I'm super into X-Wing. I actually topped the Vancouver Regionals for X-Wing last year. I got top 4 out of, I think it was like 60-something players, so that was pretty cool. Lost to one of the players that ended up winning, but he was also a world champ, or he was in World Champs top 4 or 8 or something the year prior. So very, very good player, but we had a really close game. But yeah, if you guys haven't checked out Star Wars X-Wing, check it out. It's a brilliant game. It's super fun. If you find you don't enjoy sitting there and going back and forth, or not going back and forth with your opponent and they just touch themselves for 20 minutes, which fortunately this deck can kind of do. I highly recommend checking it out. It's actually pretty affordable now too, which is very important because some of these games are really expensive, and we are unfortunately in a bit of a crisis right now with the whole COVID thing. I know a lot of people are sitting at home not doing anything, and that's ultimately why I'm sitting here at home not doing anything either. I am working right now. I'm working in an essential industry, fortunately, so I don't have any shortage of money, but it is a weekend. Girlfriend's at work. She's also working in an essential industry. But yeah, I just thought I'd give you guys something to check out for anybody that's still subscribed to me out there. Yeah, anyways, I've been rambling long enough. Just thought I'd let you guys kind of know what was going on with me. But without further ado, here's the deck profile. So starting things off, we have obviously triple Sylvan Hermitry. This is the bread and butter of the deck. You have to play 3 of this. There's no reason for you to play less. I've seen a couple of builds on YouTube that were only playing 2 recently, and that's just absolutely wrong. I get that this guy can brick your hand, but there's so many ways in this deck now to get stuff out of your hands. You have Rose Lover, you have the field spell, yada, yada, yada. There's lots of ways to fix bad hands and get this guy out. But he's basically your plus engine. He pumps out your rank 8s and your 1 rank 9 that you can play. But yeah, he's absolutely brilliant. You have to play 3 Sylvan Hermitries. Next up, we have 3 Sylvan Sage Koya. The rank 7s in this deck and the level 8 synchros are not nearly as important and good as they used to be, unfortunately. But I think you still have to play 3 of this guy. He's just a big beater. and a couple of the rank 7s, especially Aurea, are still absolutely brilliant and essential cards. They just make a huge difference, not only in your opponent's board state, but in your board state. Big Eye's still very good. I'd say probably the weakest link is Draco Sack. You could probably just go without him altogether. I don't think I've made him once since I started playing this again. But I think that you still have to play 3 Sage Koya. He's also just a great recycle monster. And at the end of the day, you can still Swarm with this deck with a bunch of big beaters and kill your opponent. He also gets back your Sylvan spell cards, spells and traps, so that's actually very, very important as well because it helps with the grind game. So this is a little controversial. I've seen some people play 3 of this guy, but I think you absolutely 110% have to play 3 Sylvan Peacekeeper. The deck revolves a lot now on rank 1s, or basically just making the obviously amazing Aroma Seraphy Jasmine. She's fantastic as well. But I actually find that I go into the rank 1 Princess Sylvan monster more than her, but there are some really cool combos you can do with Jasmine. This guy, though, is just, I mean, we have Lone Fire Blossom at 3. He can actually special summon himself out of the graveyard. When he's normal or special, he gets an Excavate, which you can do some cool combos with that. I just think that you absolutely have to play 3 of this guy, just for the fact that he can float himself. Not the one he excavates, obviously, but yeah, he's super good. I don't see any reason not to play 3 of this guy because he's the main thing that I always, if I'm blind excavating and I got some Lone Fire Blossoms in the graveyard, I want to hit this guy 100%. So the next monster, and I'm just playing 2 of these, is Princess Sprout. I think this has always been kind of the right ratio. Even back when the deck was still in its prime, people played 2. 3's too many. I think 1's not enough because if you draw the 1, then you just don't have that Princess Sprout play anymore. And at the end of the day, she's still a level 1, which is, there's a lot of level 1s in this deck, and for good reason. So yeah, she's really good. You basically, if you don't know what she does, you can tribute her. She goes to the top of the, or you can put a Sprout monster on the top of the deck, so she can put herself or Cherub Sprout on the top of the deck, and then when she's excavated, she can special summon herself and become levels 1 to 8. I think it's 1 to 8. Yeah, sorry, 1 to 8. Yeah. So she can either, she just helps with your rank plays. I mean, at the end of the day, you can even just special her, like I said, as a 1 and then overlay into your princess. So this is the only thing I'm not totally sure of. I've been playing 2 of these guys. I was actually originally playing 2 of this and 2 Martial Leafs, but I found that those cards just bricked your hand a lot. They didn't actually help push your plays at all. This deck still does lose to back rows. It does lose to hand traps. I don't have that weird new spell that everybody's playing 3 of, but my girlfriend doesn't play a lot of hand traps anyways. So I don't know. I think this deck as well is actually really good at playing around stuff like, not Ghost Ogre, Ghost Ash? I think it's Ghost Ash. But I just find that back rows can still hurt this deck, and there's a lot of continuous stuff running around right now, like field spells and continuous traps and whatnot, and this just helps deal with it. Worst case scenario, you just set him. Obviously, it's a really slow play to set him, but he still excavates 5, which I think is really, really strong. You could ultimately take one of these out and just play 1. That's something I've actually been considering doing, but for now, I'm just going to stick with the 2. I think 2 is just a good number. And then I'm just playing 1 Cherub Sprout is my last Sylvan. I might test it out. I might take out 1 Kumushurmo and play a second of her. I've never, or it, or whatever it is, I've never actually played 2 of this thing ever since I've played Sylvans. I've always played 1. But I think now, just because there's so many good level 1 monsters in the deck, that 2 of these wouldn't hurt. And at the end of the day, it's still really good because if you special summon it, it gives you a 1 to 2 excavate, which is really nice. So yeah, this is something you could totally play 2 of. I just think 1 for me is the right ratio, but I might try out 2. So on to the other plant monsters. So obviously 3 Lone Fire Blossoms. I remember back in the day playing Plant Synchro, and this thing was at 2. And at one point they actually put it to 1. And I believe they put it to 1. I'm like 99% sure they put it to 1. And yeah, plants were just kind of dead at that point. I think Debris Dragon was even banned at one point or something. Unfortunately, Dandelion is banned again. I get that because of all the token shenanigans you can do with him with links. I think that them letting you make links monsters off of tokens was one of the biggest mistakes they ever made. And I know that some of the new link monsters are coming out and saying accept tokens and stuff on them, but I think it's one of those things where it's like too little too late. They should have fixed that, nipped it in the bud before it even started to become a problem. But yeah, you have to play 3 Lone Fire Blossoms. I'm not going to say anything about that. And then one of the best cards in the deck, and I see this as a $5 common now, which is hilarious, is Evil Thorns. This card is absolutely essential. It is so good. It's not only the fact that it's level 1, so obviously tribute 1 and it special summons 2 from the deck, and you burn your opponent for 300. So then you can overlay into your Princess Sprite, excuse me, which is obviously very important. But one of the coolest things about this card is that since it does 300 to your opponent, you're actually then activating her first ability, which says that if your life points are higher than your opponent's, this card and any plant monsters it points to cannot be destroyed by battle. That's actually really good. The other thing about this too is, one, it's a level 1, so you can special it off Cherub Sprout. That's another reason why I've been thinking about playing 2 Cherub Sprouts. It just makes wombo combos even better. But yeah, it's another 3 of in the deck, which I'll get to why that's important with one card I'm playing later. So yeah, I think that Evil Thorn is just like another great starting card. One of the issues I always had with Sylvans was like, if you didn't start off with Lone Fire Blossom or like one of the 3-card combos, which was like Miracle Fertilizer, the Mount Sylvania, and Hermitry, you didn't really have any decent first turn play. So this actually helps the deck quite a bit. It also fuels your graveyard even more for another card, which is now back in the game, which I absolutely love. It's one of my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh cards of all time. And then we have a 1 Spore. So obviously Glow Up Bulb got banned. That sucks. But I guess that was because of that new weird Crystron Link monster that apparently is very broken. Yes, this is Sporpheus. This was the original Spore that I played back in 2011 when I was kicking people's asses with Plant Synchro. So yeah, I have the Holo, but I was like, nah, I gotta play Sporpheus. That's like where it's at. So yeah, unfortunately, this is the only tuner we have in the deck now. I know some people like playing, what's it called? Copy Plant. I don't own Copy Plant, but at the same time, I'm just kind of, I'm on the fence about it. I know there's some plays you could do with it. I just think it's like something I don't ever want to draw. It's something I'd want to special off Cherub Sprout. So just the 1 Spore I think is good. You don't play a lot of Synchros here and here anymore. And then I'm playing 1 Rose Lover. That's the last monster in the deck. I've seen some people playing 2 of this. I think that's fine as well. I just think that the deck doesn't have a lot of problems getting Hermitries and stuff out of your hand anymore, so I don't think you need more than 1 of this. It's basically just a second copy of Foolish Burial. Or sorry, not Foolish Burial. It's a second copy of like a special summon from your hand card, which is just really good. So that's it for monsters. Onto the spells. So I'm playing triple Sylvan Charity. That's obvious. I'm not going to say anything about this card. It's one of the reasons this deck is actually decent is because you draw 3, stack 2. A lot of cool combos you can do with it. Excuse me, absolutely essential at 3. Next up, we have Mount Sylvania. I am playing 2. No, I'm just kidding. I'm playing 3. I'm sorry about that, guys. So I know the old ratio is people would always play 2 of this card in a terraforming, and I think that's still very much doable. I like opening this with this card, and the other thing is, if I were to bring this deck to a tournament, I still want to play 3 copies of this card. I don't want to play 4. I don't want to play 3 in a terraforming. There's a lot of that, once again, what's that thing called? Ghost Ash or whatever, running around, and it kills terraforming. And I need to get to this. This card speeds up the deck. This is still one of the worst cards in the deck, unfortunately. I think it's one of the worst field spell designs Konami ever made for an archetype. It was just too slow. I think if this card was designed a little bit better, Sylvans would have been much better than they were. And I know they were already good, but I think they were good not on their own, but because of Soul Charge. And they are missing some stuff to make the deck like really, really good. But yeah, I like 3. I just think 3 is the right number. I want to see it in my opening hand, ideally. It just helps feed the graveyard, helps set your plays up. And yeah, I don't know. Terraforming at 1 is like me. I just don't want to play it. 3 Miracle Fertilizers. It's pretty much standard. This has never changed. I don't think you should play 2. You have to play 3. Obviously, it can be dead in your opening hand because usually you're always normal summoning turn 1, but like this is your I win the game late game card, mid to late game. It's so crazy. 100% play 3 of that. This baby's back at 3. Oops, sorry. I was playing just 1, but I think 3's too many. 2 is that perfect number. You can literally fuel your graveyard with 5 cards off of 1 card, which is amazing. So basically what you do is you just have to open Lone Fire Blossom in this, and you have a draw 2. So if you go Lone Fire, yeah, I'm just going to show you this will be the graveyard. So Lone Fire, into a Lone Fire on the field, last Lone Fire, tribute it. Then you're going to grab your Evil Thorns, and then you're going to tribute it, and you get 2 more on the field. Now you can either link those off into Jasmine, which right away that's 6 in the graveyard, or you could overlay into your rank 1, and then you're probably going to detach. Well, you're pretty much 100% going to detach for her first effect, unless you've already played Sylvan Charity or something and you've stacked your deck. And right there, you've already got, boop, you got it. You got your 5 cards. You can put these all back in the deck, draw 2 cards. And having these back in the deck is really good too, because now that this will be in the graveyard afterwards, it's actually a really good Miracle Fertilizer target or Reborn target, because now with the other 2 back in the deck, you can bring this back, tribute it again, bring back 2 more, and just keep going. So there's some pretty cool stuff you can do with Pot of Avarice now in this deck. I think that you have to at least play 1, but I love playing 2. I think that it's so easy to fuel the graveyard in this deck, and it makes your extra deck a lot more viable in the sense that you're not just playing 15 cards anymore. I feel like I'm playing multiple copies of all my Link, XYZs, and Synchro monsters. So this is super good. I love Pot of Avarice. It's one of my favorite cards of all time. This is another card I'm on the fence about. I like this card. The way I play it is it fixes your opening hands if you don't have Lone Fire. But it's another Foolish Burial in a sense, because it can actually, what I usually do with it as well, if I open this with Lone Fire, you can go like Lone Fire into Rose Lover, and then activate this, tribute the Rose Lover, or like Spore even, and then go for the Lone Fire and just keep going. In that sense, it's a minus, but I just think this card's good. It just fixes your hands. It is unfortunately, like I said, a minus for the gazillionth time, but I think it's still absolutely worth playing. You could probably just get away with 1. I just feel like you'd never see it when you need to, so I think 2's the right number. I hate drawing these late game. I might try actually not playing these at all. I just feel like you could probably take one of these out for another Rose Lover to fix hands anyways, and it's kind of the same thing. Or you could, and then take the other one out for another Cherub Sprout. This basically just is 2 more copies of Lone Fire Blossom too, so I don't know. It's one of those cards I'm on the fence about. 1 Foolish Burial for your single cards. This dumps Rose Lover, Spore, or awkwardly, if you open this and Miracle Fertilizer, you can dump Hermitry and special him back or whatever. So yeah, I think 1's good. Instant Fusion's at 1 now. That's weird. That actually really hurt my Karakuri deck, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. This is just here for 1 card. You basically just bring out your Thousand Eyes Restrict with this, and you're going to steal your opponent's monster, and then I usually just rank up into Princess Sprite with this, because she just says 2 level 1 monsters, which is funny. She actually doesn't care if they're plants. So even turn 1, if you're going first, this is just like an extender. You can open a level 1 and Instant Fusion in your hand, special this out, and then just make Princess Sprite. So that's obviously very important as well. 1 for 1 is even better in this deck now, because we have obviously the level 1 Brilliance that is your Evil Thorn. So you have another, this plus any Sylvan. You can open some crazy stuff, like if opening this with Hermitry and a Miracle Fertilizer is just a whack first turn. So yeah, absolutely have to play this. So here's one of my favorite cards in the deck. I love Symbol of Heritage. I see people not playing this in Sylvans. This got played for a little teeny bit when Lone Fire Blossom went back to 3, and then people just forgot about it. But you have so many 3 of us in this deck. You have Lone Fire, you have Evil Thorn, you have Hermitry, pardon me. You have Sage Koya. Like, there is just so, you can, if you want to, it's not very good, but you can even bring back your Peacekeeper if you want to. Like, there's so many 3-ofs in this deck that I just don't see there being any reason not to play this. It's basically a second Monster Reborn. I love it. It's super good. And yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason not to play it. And then obviously you have Monster Reborn, which is cool. Soul Charge is gone. I'm actually okay with that. I never really liked that idea of having to play the deck to get 2 Soul Charge as quickly as possible and make some stupid first turn like double ranked 8 board, and then your opponent has to play around it. I just don't think that's very fun. I love Monster Reborns. It's probably one of the most iconic cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! History. So the fact that they brought it back is great. So that's the main deck, guys. 40 cards. Sorry for a little rambling, but we will get on to the extra deck. So we have 1 True King of All Calamities. You can make rank 9s in this deck, or 1 rank 9 in this deck, and it's just a really good first turn play. Shuts off a lot of decks. And then for your other rank 8s, we have the Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon. He's just like a big OTK beatdown card. I really like him. He's super good. And then we obviously have your standard guys like number 38. I don't know why I want to say 39. This guy's a beast. He's so good. I love this guy. And then obviously your 1 Falgrand. You used to play 2. I just don't think he's as good as he used to be, so I think 1's fine. And then you have Dingirasu, who's also generic. He's really cool too. You make him during your opponent's turn, or your turn, sorry. When your opponent's got stuff out, you send a card in their field to the graveyard, and it just protects all your stuff. So he's fantastic. And then you also have Alsay. Yeah, I think you still have to play just 1 of him. He's not great, but there's some cool combos you can do with him too. So yeah, I think he's definitely a solid 1 of. He's just another removal. An absolute must play in this deck that just came out is that new rank 8 plant monster. But it's like $15, so I'm not going to buy one. But yeah, that's definitely something you want to play too. Rank 7s, we have 1 Aurea. You could probably play 2 of her. I actually own 2. And just take out, like, she's the best one in the deck, 100%. Best rank 7 that you can make. You could probably just take out Draco Sack and just play her. Play two of her in a big eye. I think that's possible too. Something I'm on the fence about. I might try it out. I just think that 1's fine just because you have double Pot of Avarice, so you can put her back. 1 big eye and 1 Draco Sack. So that's it for your... No, I'm just kidding. You got to play 1 Princess Sprite as well. Sorry about that. You could play 2. I was playing 2. It was kind of a space issue thing. So I think that 1 is fine because you can't use her effects twice. You can only use each of her effects once per turn, so you can't use her effects twice in a turn. And then once again, Pot of Avarice just makes it so the extra deck's not as cloggy. And for Link monsters, we have 1 Jasmine. She's fantastic, like I've been saying. There's some cool stuff you can do with her. I still think that this one's better after playing the deck a lot. I think that you go into Princess Sprite more often, but Jasmine's really cool just because she can fuel your graveyard so quickly. Like, you can special summon Lone Fire from the deck and then just fill up the graveyard, get out of Hermitry, Pot of Avarice stuff back, and just keep going. She's fantastic. The 1 Link Karibo, this is another card I haven't really summoned a whole lot, but I think just because there's so many rank 1s in the deck, I think there's no reason not to play this. This is something that could also just come out for a second Princess Sprite if you wanted to, if you feel like you're needing it more. So that's it for Links, just the 2. Synchros, I'm playing the 1 Vermilion Dragon Mech. He's just there because you can synchro him with the Sporpheus, and then you banish the Hermitry that you synchroed with to special summon it as the Spore is level 9, and then you overlay for True King of All Calamities. So yeah, he's basically just there. His effect's not bad too. If you're doing that play during your opponent's turn, they got no back rows and you're doing stuff. The only tuner in the deck is Spore, so you ideally don't want to banish the Spore, but he's still some spot removal if you can make him, so it's not bad. And then the last synchro is just Omega. He's great. He can put Pot of Avarice back in the deck, so you can draw it again. That's hilarious. I've done that a couple times. I think I used 2 Pot of Avarices on 1 turn once. So yeah, he's really cool. You just synchro him with Sage Koya. It's great. And then the last card in the deck is your Thousand Eyes Restrict. So that's it for the deck profile, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm going to have some more deck profiles coming up for you guys pretty soon here, just for funsies. I'm not playing competitively anymore. This is just a casual thing. You might see a deck profile come up once in a while when I have some time. But yeah, for all you guys that have stayed subscribed to my channels over these years, or if you're just subscribed to me because you forgot I even existed and you're going to click that unsubscribe button, that's totally fine. I don't hold anything against you. But for anybody new coming to the channel, don't expect a ton of videos, but I will definitely be posting stuff when I can. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Peace.